There's something all of us can learn from Taylor Swift, and I'm not talking about singing, I'm not talking about songwriting, I'm talking about storytelling. There are techniques and there are ways in which that Taylor has used storytelling to become a phenomenon. In this video, I'm going to break down just one song and I'm going to show you that no matter what you do, you could be a dentist or a numerologist, or you could be running a restaurant, or you could be a dancer or a painter, or no matter what it is that you do, you could use those storytelling techniques to stand out from the rest. You could use storytelling to express who you are and your authenticity, your style, the way you see the world, and the way you express it using words, no technology, no nothing, no design, visuals, all of that comes later. But just with words, you could craft stories that connect with your audience in a deeper fashion, the way Taylor has been able to do. So, first of all, I'm going to, instead of talk about the various songs that she has done, I'm going to add various albums. I'm going to just focus on one song from one album to talk about two or three specific concepts that can be helpful for what you do. One of those perspective. Life of a Showgirl, the latest album that Taylor came up with last year. It has a song called The Life of a Showgirl, and it starts with the perspective of a person who's going to meet their hero. It's something that all of us can relate with. It's an epic moment to meet an aspiring performer meets the performer that they look up to, and they watch the performance and they are waiting to meet the person who they admire and who's their role model and who they would want to be like when they grow up. It's a very universal feeling, like I talked about in an earlier video, which I'll link for you. It's that it's that feeling of meeting someone you admire. As a child, you're looking up to someone and you followed someone's work, and for the very first time, you go to meet them. So it's the perspective of a child who's a child or a young person who's witnessing something magical for the very first time. And the way she uses description is it shows the details that this protagonist is observing. For instance, she's watching this person perform and she's noticing the garters and the fishnets and the missteps. So it's the quality of observation that's coming out in her perspective. Secondly, you see the word but is a is the core of storytelling. Something is great, but these things are wrong. There was that Instagram thing that people used to talk about. She's a 10, he's a 10, but. But is where the stories typically start. It's the quality of a conflict, of something that intrigues you, of something that makes you curious to find out what happens after the but. Like in classical poetry, woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep. So the line that's repeated over and over in the song is, you're sweeter than a peach, but you don't know the life of a showgirl. You're softer than a kitten, but you don't know the life of a showgirl. So first we are seeing the perspective from outside, then we are seeing the perspective of this person and how they see the world and what the protagonist is seeing and what the person that she's looking up to, the role model, is seeing is different. And the but is creating that tension in the story. It's creating that layering in the story. That what appears to be something has a lot of layer and depth that the audience is not aware of. And that revelation is happening in the story in various ways. And the way it's happening is, again, very classic storytelling trope, which is nostalgia, which is the background, the origin story. So at one point in the song, we find out what the childhood of this role model was like, what her relationship with her parents was like, how their life and their choices that they made this person want to go ahead and have a magnificent life, and the struggles and the challenges that she goes through to get to that point. So there's a journey. There are like various journeys that are happening. The main protagonist who's going to meet her role model, who's meeting her role model for the very first time. The role model as a child, the journey that she went through, and as a performer, the challenges that she faced, her origin story, her relationship with her parents, and the experience she had in her early childhood. And in the pursuit of becoming a famous performer, the the challenges that she goes through over and over again. So they create a layered story with multiple perspective going back and forth. And that's what's making it rich in terms of nuance, in terms of detail, in terms of relatability. There's an emotional resonance that happens when a person is able to listen to another person's story and with the details they won't that won't be publicly available. So the storyteller is doing the job of revealing something that's hidden, that's behind the scenes, that's not really known, that's something that's not visible. So you're finding out a lot of depth through perspectives and times. Finally, like one of the things that Taylor does extremely well is using metaphors to make her point. So metaphors create a poetic quality and a very relatable quality to the writing. So she says she's standing with the autograph hounds who are barking. So you can imagine a scene in which there are lots of fans who are trying to get autographs of this performer, and they are actually shouting her name, and it feels like this cacophony, this loud place where people are just yelling someone's name, and it feels a little bit like barking. Then you have metaphors that are extremely specific to the life of a performer to show what a performer is actually feeling. So she associates pain behind the lipstick. She says that they threw me like the false eyelashes. So that metaphor is creating more layers that what you're seeing is what not is the actual truth. So there's a discovery that's happening of the truth through a story layered with metaphors and perspectives, with childhood, with challenges, with what is visible and what is not visible. And these are the qualities actually that can make any brand story, personal brand, small brand that you're just now building. You can connect with the audience with these storytelling techniques. And it's simple, it's absolutely free. Words are available to everyone. But your experience makes you who you are. Artificial intelligence will always be artificial and the intelligent. But human and emotion is a strength that can help you stand out. It can, one, authentically express your experience, which is unique to you. No one else will be able to copy that ever. And secondly, it's something that's available to everyone. No one stops anyone to write a poem to express the core of their existence. why they are there, what made them want to be there, what is it, what was the journey that they went through to get to that point. These are the qualities actually in a more straightforward way you see in shareholder letters sometimes being used. You'll see them in brand building. When the founder, when the entrepreneur, when the artist, when an innovator actually puts in the work to connect with the audience that they're trying to serve, and they bring out their authenticity, their vulnerability, their own perspective, and connect it with various perspectives while empathizing with everyone in the process, the audience specifically, but it could, in case of an innovator, it could be investors and customers and the talent that they're hiring. It gives that leader an edge. It all of these qualities can translate to great leadership communication. You could use them in a speech, you could use them in any kind of communication that is designed to connect people. It could be a newsletter, it could be a caption on Instagram, it could be content you're creating on YouTube. But storytelling techniques, if applied with authenticity and with great care, and when you create a package that's based around human emotion and your own specific experience of life, it can be a great connector and bring people together. It could help form communities. Again, Taylor, great example of forming a community where people feel safe and together and they're able to connect with the artist, but in the process, they're also able to connect with each other. The qualities that most brands, corporates, professionals, innovators, anyone who has a vision wants to bring in their communication. Yeah. So if you feel like you want to bring these storytelling techniques and several others into your expression, into your communication, you could book a coaching session with me. In a little bit, I'll have self-paced course that takes you very deep into how storytelling can be used by anyone to build a brand that is right for them, that's authentic, that's true, that builds trust with their audience, that brings out their own true expression and emotion, and use that to connect, to build depth into the relationships, the professional relationships that you're trying to build. You could just click on the link below and schedule a coaching session for now. Also, I'm linking a playlist which has some fundamentals, the basics of storytelling. There are some book suggestions. If you start practicing them, you'll start feeling a difference in the way you're communicating, the way you're using words in your day to day and even in your work. The way you're articulating will improve significantly. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.